Hi, I'm Macy. Welcome to all the new subscribers and followers. Today starts a series on the minor prophets of the Bible. And I was just going to start with Amos because I've already done videos for the first two minor prophets, but I felt that it was probably appropriate to just repost the videos that I had already done and start the series off with the prophets in order. So what's going to follow this introduction is the video that I've already done for Hosea. This will be the first video for the minor prophet series, and that is the Book of Hosea. I got led to a book in the Bible that admittedly I'm not very familiar with. And I'm going to mess up some of these names, so please have some patience with me on that. But it's the book in the Old Testament, and it's either pronounced Hosea or Hosea, but it's Hosea, depending on where you're from, and it may be pronounced a different way. You may pronounce the H, Hosea, or Hosea. But I had to kind of read about what this book was about. And so I'm going to say Hosea. And Hosea was a prophet who was asked by God to marry a prostitute. And this prostitute, even after marrying a prophet, was unfaithful to her husband. She left him. She ran around on him. She initially thought she was living very well because she basically did what she wanted to do. But then life got rough. She hit rock bottom and she was auctioned off as a slave. But God directed Hosea to go and buy back his wife as a wife, not a slave. And basically, the way that I understand this is that this is basically an illustration of what God does for us. That when we run from God, when we rebel, God continues to seek us. Just as Hosea continued to seek his wife, either Gomer or Gomer. In the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 14, it says, "Therefore, I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the desert and speak tenderly to her." My understanding is that this is a chapter talking about how God punished Israel and then restored Israel. And Israel was disobedient to God as well in the Old Testament. The Israelites could have had the land of milk and honey earlier than what they did, but they were not obedient to God. And it says in verse 14, chapter 2, verse 14, "Therefore, I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the desert and speak tenderly to her." And this kind of hit me some kind of way when I heard this, because it's often in the desert where, in the Bible, where we are taught, where we could be tempted, right? Jesus was in the wilderness for 40 days, and he was tempted during those 40 days. Israel wandered for 40 years before they were allowed to have their land. The book of Hosea reiterated how Israel had turned away from God to false idols, had worshipped other gods, even when God made it clear that, you will worship me and you will be my people. He had made a covenant with them, and they still turned their backs on him. And they had to pay a penalty for that, but God still forgave them. He still sought them out, forgave them, and called them back to him. And then be given a book about how God, yes, how he punished Israel, but out of love for his people, he called them back. He sought after them. And he called them back to him out of love. Until next time, may the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. I love y'all. Have a great night.